When most people think of cruising from the United States, two names dominate the conversation: Carnival and Royal Caribbean. They're the Coca-Cola and Pepsi of the cruise world, fierce competitors with loyal fan bases, massive fleets, and ships that crisscross the Caribbean, Alaska, Europe, and beyond. On the surface, they both offer affordable vacations packed with food, entertainment, and tropical beach stops. But beneath that, there are some major differences that can completely change the kind of vacation you experience. Let's start with price. Cruises are often marketed as affordable luxury, and in many cases that's true. You're getting transportation, accommodation, food, entertainment, and multiple destinations all bundled into a single vacation. But when it comes to who offers the better deal up front, Carnival generally wins the affordability contest. In a pricing analysis of dozens of itineraries from three of the busiest U.S. cruise ports, Miami, Port Canaveral, and Galveston, Carnival's fares were, on average, about $200 less per person for a 7-night cruise than Royal Caribbean. That difference wasn't just a one-off. It held true across shorter itineraries as well, including 3, 4, and 5-night cruises. When you start multiplying those savings across families or groups, you're looking at potentially saving hundreds, sometimes thousands, just by choosing Carnival. Now, of course, cruise pricing isn't static. It fluctuates constantly based on seasonality, ship class, route popularity, demand, and how far in advance you book. But consistently, if you're comparing two similar itineraries, same departure port, same duration, similar destinations, Carnival usually comes in cheaper on the base fare. It's important to note, though, that base fare doesn't mean total cost. Once you start adding extras, like drink packages, excursions, upgraded dining, or specialty shows, costs can escalate quickly no matter which cruise line you're on. But here's the key distinction: Carnival's lower fares make it a more accessible entry point for first-time cruisers, families with kids, and budget-conscious travelers who just want a fun week in the sun. And that affordability has helped Carnival attract one of the largest customer bases in the cruise industry. According to Carnival Corporation's own reporting, they operate more than 90 ships across 9 cruise brands, carrying over 12 million passengers per year globally. The value proposition is clear: low upfront cost, casual fun, and plenty to do without spending a fortune. And now, price aside, what you get on board can be dramatically different, and that's where Royal Caribbean pulls ahead in a major way. This is a cruise line that treats each ship like a floating theme park crossed with a luxury resort. Their Oasis-class vessels are engineering marvels. Take Wonder of the Seas, for example, currently the largest cruise ship in the world. It stretches more than 1,180 feet long and carries nearly 7,000 passengers at full capacity. That's not a typo. It's the population of a small town at sea. These megaships offer amenities that are frankly hard to believe exist on a moving vessel: real ice skating rinks, multi-deck water slides, surf simulators, full-sized basketball courts, and a rideable zip line that stretches across the ship's open-air atrium. They even have robot bartenders at the Bionic Bar and a glass capsule called the North Star, which lifts you 300 feet above sea level for panoramic views of the ocean. This is cruise vacationing reimagined as a spectacle, and for many people, that's a huge part of the appeal. Carnival, to its credit, has been investing heavily to keep up. Their newer XL-class ships like Mardi Gras and Carnival Celebration feature innovations like the first roller coaster at sea, expanded water parks, and stylish new staterooms with more modern design. These ships have brought Carnival into a new era, but even with these upgrades, Royal Caribbean's fleet, especially its newer vessels, still offer more variety and technological innovation. And this matters because most passengers spend far more time on the ship than they might think. Cruise ships typically spend only 6 to 8 hours docked in each port, and on sea days, you're on board the entire time. That means the quality of the onboard experience, entertainment, food, atmosphere, activities, has an outsized impact on the overall trip. Carnival leans into classic cruise culture. Their activities are designed to be social, upbeat, and a little cheeky. Expect trivia games in the atrium, poolside dance-offs, family-friendly comedy shows, and a nightlife scene that turns up the volume after sunset. Their branding isn't subtle. They want you to think of fun, spontaneity, and letting loose. It's not uncommon to see people conga lining around the pool deck, singing karaoke until midnight, or competing in hairy chest contests under the Caribbean sun. Royal Caribbean offers fun too, but with a different flavor. It's more curated and at times more refined. You can absolutely party, but the atmosphere tends to be more structured. Think less spring break on a boat and more upscale resort meets adventure park. The ship's programming includes Broadway-style productions like Hairspray or Mamma Mia, acrobatic aqua theater shows, themed escape rooms, and silent discos. You might spend your morning doing sunrise yoga on the helipad, your afternoon on a surf simulator, and your evening sipping a craft cocktail while watching a high-wire diving performance. Even the design of the ships reflects this contrast in personality. Carnival ships lean bold, lots of bright colors, neon lighting, and tropical themes. It feels like you're stepping into a Miami nightclub that spilled onto a beach resort. Royal Caribbean ships, on the other hand, often feel like modern luxury hotels. Sleek wood finishes, glass installations, art galleries, and minimalist touches. Newer Carnival ships have started adopting cleaner, more contemporary designs, and Royal Caribbean's older ships are being refreshed, so the lines are starting to blur a bit. But the essence remains. In the end, Carnival and Royal Caribbean both know their audience and design their experiences accordingly. Carnival is the party you didn't know you needed. Royal Caribbean is the all-inclusive resort with a skydiving simulator and a world-class performance lineup. One isn't necessarily better than the other. It just depends on what kind of vacation you're looking for and how much you're willing to spend to get it. Another place the differences between Carnival and Royal Caribbean become clear is when you sit down to eat. Both cruise lines serve up an impressive amount of food throughout the day: breakfast buffets, lunch counters, snacks between meals, and dinner spreads that last well into the evening. But Carnival makes a name for itself with the sheer value it delivers in its included dining options. You don't have to pay a dime extra to enjoy popular venues like Guy's Burger Joint, which was developed in partnership with celebrity chef Guy Fieri, and has earned cult-like status among cruisers for its juicy burgers and seasoned fries. Then there's Blue Iguana Cantina, where you can build your own burritos and tacos with fresh ingredients, and the 24-hour pizza counter, which, yes, is always open for that midnight slice. Carnival also has a deli with sandwiches and wraps, and many of its newer ships offer multiple casual eateries at no extra charge. Even some restaurants that charge for dinner will serve lunch for free, a subtle but appreciated perk. Royal Caribbean, on the other hand, offers quality food across the board, but it leans harder into the concept of paid specialty dining. Their complimentary options, like the Windjammer Marketplace Buffet and the main dining room, are solid and satisfy most guests. But they also encourage passengers to elevate their experience with premium venues such as Chop's Grill, a classic American steakhouse, Giovanni's Italian Kitchen, Izumi Sushi, and even Chef's Table, an intimate, multi-course, fine dining experience. The food is often outstanding, but the catch is that these experiences come at a price, often $40 to $100 plus per person, depending on the restaurant and the cruise. For foodies and special occasions, they can be a highlight, but for budget-minded travelers, Carnival's included dining feels more generous and accessible. The same spending dynamic plays out with drink packages. Alcohol on a cruise adds up fast. Beers typically cost between $6 and $8, cocktails $10 to $14, and specialty coffee drinks can hit $5 each. That's why both lines offer unlimited drink packages. Carnival's Cheers package is relatively straightforward and costs about $55 per person per day when purchased in advance. It covers all alcoholic beverages up to $20 each, along with specialty coffees, sodas, juices, and milkshakes, and has a 15 alcoholic drink per day limit. For most people, that's more than enough to stay buzzed and budgeted. Royal Caribbean takes a different approach. Their deluxe beverage package uses dynamic pricing, meaning the cost changes based on the ship, sailing date, and itinerary. Prices can range anywhere from $63 to $89 per person per day, plus a mandatory 18 to 20% gratuity added at checkout. That variability means some guests will pay hundreds more for the same benefits, depending solely on when they booked or which ship they're on. And unlike Carnival, Royal doesn't cap the number of alcoholic drinks, but that doesn't mean you won't be cut off. Bartenders can still refuse service if someone appears visibly intoxicated, and Royal does monitor drink consumption behind the scenes. Dynamic pricing isn't limited to beverages either. It's part of Royal Caribbean's broader strategy across their fleet. Things like spa treatments, internet packages, dining reservations, and even admission to the water park at Coco Cay can all change in price depending on your specific sailing. For travelers who like to plan and budget ahead, this can be frustrating. You might see one price when you're researching your cruise and a completely different one when you go to book it. Carnival, in contrast, uses more stable, transparent pricing. What you see is generally what you'll pay, no matter which ship or itinerary you choose. That kind of predictability can be a huge relief for travelers trying to keep a trip under a certain budget. Looking at actual onboard spending, the difference is measurable. According to financial data from both cruise line parent companies, Carnival guests spend around $52 per person per day on extras, things like drinks, casino play, excursions, and souvenirs. On Royal Caribbean, that figure climbs to $64 per person per day. That's a 23% increase, and while $12 a day might not seem dramatic, over the course of a 7-night cruise for 2 people, that's nearly $170 in additional onboard expenses. Depending on how you vacation, that could be the difference between saying yes or no to that specialty dinner or last-minute shore excursion. One area where Royal Caribbean easily takes the lead is in global reach. Carnival primarily focuses on North American ports, with year-round sailings from Florida, Texas, and California, and a secondary presence in Australia. They've started dabbling in European itineraries, but they're limited. Royal Caribbean, by contrast, has grown into a truly international cruise brand. Their ships sail from Europe, Asia, the Middle East, Australia, and South America. Want to cruise the Norwegian fjords? Royal's got it. Dreaming of island hopping in the South Pacific or exploring Japan's coastlines? They're already there. For travelers looking to go beyond the Caribbean or Mexico, Royal simply offers more options. And speaking of destinations, both cruise lines now offer private island getaways in the Bahamas, a growing trend in the industry. Carnival's Half Moon Cay and Princess Cays are tranquil, beach-heavy retreats with white sand, shallow waters, and island-style BBQs. They're peaceful, relaxing, and relatively untouched. Royal Caribbean's perfect day at Coco Cay is something else entirely. After a $250 million investment, Royal transformed the island into a full-blown resort destination. It now features Thrill Water Park, home to the tallest water slide in North America, a wave pool, the largest freshwater pool in the Caribbean, swim-up bars, and luxury overwater cabanas with personal attendants. It's part beach, part amusement park, and it's exclusive to Royal Caribbean guests. For travelers who love big attractions and adrenaline-packed experiences, Coco Cay is hands down the more immersive and developed island. If you prefer quiet beaches and gentle waves, Carnival's options are still more than enough. Finally, access matters. Not everyone lives near a major cruise hub like Miami or Port Canaveral. One of Carnival's biggest advantages is that it sails from many smaller regional ports like Mobile, Charleston, and Jacksonville. This opens the door for thousands of people who can drive to their cruise instead of booking flights. That saves money, time, and hassle. Royal Caribbean, on the other hand, focuses more heavily on large-scale embarkation ports, though it has begun expanding into places like Baltimore and New Orleans. Still, if proximity is key for your vacation plans, Carnival offers more convenient departure options. And so, is one cruise line better than the other? It depends on your priorities. Carnival is generally cheaper, more laid back, and excels at included value. Royal Caribbean offers bigger ships, global destinations, and more wow-factor amenities. In truth, they're about 80% similar, and it's that other 20% that really defines your experience. If you're choosing between the two, you're already winning, because whether you're ziplining on deck or sipping a daiquiri by the pool, you're on a cruise, and that's always a good day.